If you are watching this video, then that means you're probably deciding whether or not to visit Ho Chi Minh City, trying to assess whether if there exists strong enough reasons to make the journey. Maybe you're travelling to a nearby country, for example Thailand or Malaysia, and figured Ho Chi Minh City is a short plane journey away from where you are, so why not kill two birds with one stone by having... Ho Chi Minh City is one of my favourite cities in the world to visit, and I've been twice. The first time I loved it, and on my second visit, this is when I did extensive recording to help make this video, so I can share with the world why I loved visiting the city the first time, and hopefully I'm able to provide you with compelling reasons to make the visit. Ho Chi Minh City is the largest city in Vietnam, with a metropolitan population of around 22 million and around 14 million within the city limits, thereby putting this in the top 5 largest settlements in Southeast Asia and is the economic heartbeat of the nation. It's located in the southernmost part of the country, so the climate around this part of the world is tropical with 2 seasons. The first is the rainy season, which is from May to November, and then there's a dry season, which is from December to March. The average temperature throughout the year is around 28 degrees Celsius or 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Quite recently, the city has opened up its metro system, its underground or subway system, and that's to help ease traffic and congestion throughout the city, thereby making mass transportation less reliant on buses and vehicles, hoping to alleviate traffic. The main roads are bustling with lots of motorcycles, particularly in central areas or busy areas, and the city has a strong coffee shop culture, and street food scene here is very fast, with local ingredients used, as Mekong Delta is a mere short drive away for fresh produce. The number of annual visitors may not compare to Bangkok, but it is catching up quite fast. In some ways I feel Ho Chi Minh City has more to offer in terms of things to do and to see, and it has its own unique charm that's not found in other nearby cities, such as French arts architecture, which is reminiscent of Paris at times. The French refer to this as a pearl of the Far East, and it's easy to see why. Previously, Ho Chi Minh City was known as Saigon, then officially renamed to Ho Chi Minh City, named after the revolutionary leader whose vision and ideas inspired the population to a cause that transcended themselves, leading to a devastating war that resulted in the deaths of millions. The Vietnam War ended in 1975 when the North declared victory at the fall of Saigon, and then renamed it to Ho Chi Minh City to say this city is so subservient to the North, motivated and subscribed to the ideals of Ho Chi Minh. One of the first places to visit in Ho Chi Minh City is Independence Palace, also known as Reunification Hall. This was a residence and the workplace of the President of Republic of Vietnam up until the end of the Vietnam War. In fact, this is actually the very site which marked the end of the Vietnam War, when a tank crashed through the fence and then another followed through, and those 2 tanks are still outside for show. Think of this as the White House of South Vietnam. It's open to all visitors, and around 90% of the building is open to visitors with minimal restricted areas. You'll get to see the war room. This is where the president sat surrounded by maps. This was where detrimental decisions were made during the Vietnam War, and this room is located in the bunker area. Then there's a communications room on the same floor, where cryptic messages were constantly being sent to troops on the battlefield via radio, and there are switchboards. These are the same exact equipment used back then, kept intact, even the telephones. On the ground floor, there are a number of reception rooms which were used to accommodate guests and hold strategy meetings, and each room are luxuriously decorated to ostentatiously showcase the wealth and power of South Vietnam and their military as they represented grandeur and capital. At the top you'll see the president's living quarters and how they lived large, with dedicated game room and even a theatre in proximity to the bedroom, which has a state-of-the-art projector at the time, used only in theatres. From one of the high rooms, you will have a view of the helipad, where there was a replica of the last American helicopter which departed during the fall of Saigon. Nearby the Independence Palace is the War Remnants Museum. This building was a site of US military intelligence before the fall of Saigon during the Vietnam War. This houses a lot of military equipment found and salvaged from the Vietnam War, such as aircrafts like the F-5A fighter jet, AD-6 aircraft, A-37 Dragonfly for light attacks used for close air support, and C-130s were used to drop off 5.7-ton seismic bombs, which were designed specifically for clearing large areas, for landing of Chinooks, or to cause significant shockwaves against enemy troops. CH-47 Chinook was used for heavy lifting of not only troops but artilleries and supplies as well. The most iconic aircraft used in the Vietnam War was a UH-1 helicopter, also known as a Huey, which provided air support during the times of conflict. These can be seen in a lot of Vietnam War movies, such as Apocalypse Now. As for the vehicles used, being tanks and armoured vehicles such as the M48 Patton, which was used the most, then the lighter M41 tank, then D7 bulldozers to destroy trees and clear the land, and LVTA-6, which was used for assault. As for artilleries, which were vehicles but used for heavy bombardment on land from far away large distances, they have the 155mm howitzer, then their 175mm cannon mounted on M107 tanks. Despite almost infinite wealth used by the US and Republic of Vietnam forces using sophisticated weaponry, such expensive weaponry did not mean much in warfare in the rainforest, especially when troops had to contend with blazing heat in a tropical environment and insects or flies that were able to transmit diseases like dengue, fever and malaria from mosquitoes, let alone ants, venomous centipedes or even large spiders and snakes. This was all very well familiar with the local North Vietnam soldiers and the local Viet Cong, as they employed guerrilla warfare by making extensive use of the environment to their advantage, driven by a cause that meant so much to them, like they were fighting for independence and self-determination. This museum's building spans 3 floors and contains approximately 20,000 documents, artifacts and films, some of which were actually donated by former US soldiers as a sign of regret for their participation in this senseless war. And those images, for the most part, were from journalists and photographers, some of whom got killed during the war itself. These documents and images are exhibited to convey the horrors of the Vietnam War, including images of soldiers and innocents being brutalized, including people from the My Lai massacre. Also, there's an entire section dedicated to the devastating effects caused by Agent Orange, which was a chemical weapon used to destroy plants and trees, as it was becoming too difficult for the US and Republic of Vietnam soldiers to navigate through the forest. The usage of Agent Orange caused genetic defects towards the people that lived in close proximity to where the actual weapon was used, and it caused long-term health issues like cancer, congenital disorders and other long-term health issues. A lot of children born from parents that were affected were born with defects, unfortunately, and US soldiers had to fight a very long time for monetary compensation from their government for this. In addition to aircrafts and vehicles used on display in the courtyard, firearms are also displayed in the museum as well, such as the M16 rifles, which was the standard for US troops, and the AK-47 used by the North Vietnam Army and the Viet Cong. As you can see, there's all sorts of firearms used, along with the bullets, grenades and even rockets shown on display. Not far from the Independence Palace is a Saigon Notre Dame, which was under renovation at the time, but directly opposite is a Saigon Central Post Office. This structure was constructed at the end of the 19th century and designed by a French architect who also designed other notable buildings in the city, like the Museum of Ho Chi Minh City. Inside, you can purchase postcards and have them sent back anywhere in the world, where postage is just a little over $1. There's a vast selection of postcards you can choose from. One of the main walking streets in the city is Nguyen Hu. This is a boulevard, approximately 900 meters long, consisting of French-styled buildings and modern high-rises to show layered history of both French colonial period and with the modern world. This is a popular gathering spot for both locals and tourists, and does get very busy at peak times, particularly evenings and weekends. At one end is a French-style Saigon town hall, the statue of Ho Chi Minh at the front of it, and on the other side is the Saigon River. And somewhere in the middle of this boulevard is where Cafe Apartment is. This entire apartment block is 9 floors, and this is in prime real estate, so you can imagine what kind of people used to live here. There were American officials during the time of the Republic of Vietnam and high-ranking government staff. This building was intended to be demolished, but then turned into a cafe apartment as an incentive to keep it. Each apartment, each and every single one of them, has been converted into a cafe, so you'll be spoilt for choice depending on which one you go to. And depending on which one you go to, you'll have a view of the bustling Nguyen Hu. There is a lift that goes up, though it's more fun to take the stairs and see the coffee shops floor by floor. I spent more time deciding which one to go to than spending time in one. I went to Meraki Cafe, which occupies 4 floors due to their success. Nearby the Nguyen Hu is the Saigon Opera House, which is a famous landmark in the city, built in the late 1800s. It's a theatre with a capacity of around 500, where various shows are played here and require booking in advance. There are other iconic structures in the city, like the Pink Church, officially known as Tan Din Church, as it's in the Tan Din area. This is a church, and it's also a French-style architecture, and is the second largest church in Ho Chi Minh City after Saigon Notre Dame. It was constructed in the late 1800s by the French as well. Though opening times are sketchy, tourists for the most part take pictures from outside or even from one of the cafes across the road, where they can have a better view for those Instagram shots. Another notable church in the city is the St. Francis Xavier Church, which is in District 5. So it's just outside the central part of the city, well, outside of District 1. And this district is also known as Sholon, which has a large Chinese community, and it's like the Chinatown, or rather, you could say that the people, for the most part, living here are of Chinese descent from a few centuries ago. There are even temples in the vicinity, such as a Lady Thin Hao Temple, also known as Shua Ba Thin Hao, and this is a historic Chinese temple built around 1760s when the Chinese community migrated here from China, and this temple is dedicated to the Lady of Sea, also who is known as Thin Hao, who is revered for protecting seafarers and fishermen. The Chinese-style architecture with its intricate decorations illustrates the dedication and devotion to the deity and how it served the local Chinese community at the time, and as it still does, and how it was a Chinese cultural hub for a while. Conical incense coils are lit up and hung below the roof. They are burnt because the smoke from the burning incense carries their prayers to the deity, where worshippers write their wishes on pink paper and there are other Chinese temples nearby. Another one that I went to is a Min Huang Gia Than temple, but it's more of a communal house, also built in the late 1700s. Min Huang translates to the village of Ming dynasty people because in the 1690, a group of people from China that were loyal to the Ming dynasty did not want to submit to the rule of Jing dynasty, so they migrated down south, settling in this area, creating a village community. And the descendants of these people have integrated into the Vietnamese society in this Sholon area, only for the most part to be able to speak the local language. This communal building also has space for worship as well, and somewhere in the middle. The tallest building in Vietnam is here in Ho Chi Minh City, and it's known as the Landmark 81. The height of this structure is visible from afar, which imposes itself on the entirety of the city, and it's built by Vin Homes, same company that built the surrounding buildings next to it as apartment blocks. This building is designed to resemble a cluster of bamboo shoots to symbolize strength and unity, as mentioned on the website. The entire area, which includes the main building and the surrounding apartment buildings, the area is known as Vin Homes Central Park and is situated outside of District 1 in a district known as Bin Than, and is reachable via metro line from Saigon Opera House or Ben Tan Market, as they share the same massive station. The building is used for mixed use, including a hotel for residential and a shopping mall with an ice rink on the first few floors. And there's restaurants for observation at the top on floor up to floor 81, where you can get a view of the entire city. The lift that goes up goes at a speed 8 floors per second, so you can reach the top to bottom within less than a minute. During the evenings for partyings or going to clubs, there is Bouvienne Street, which is the walking street, or rather it becomes walking street when no vehicles are allowed to pass through in the evenings after 7 p.m. and is approximately 850 meters long. This road consists of many bars and restaurants to cater for tourists with live performances, not only on the outside of businesses but also on the road itself. This is like the party scene of the city, and there exist many hostels here as well for budget party goers and holiday makers. This is comparable to Bangkok's Khao San Road. This road is named after Bouvienne, the person who is considered to be the very first Vietnamese person to have travelled to the United States. In and around Ho Chi Minh City, you may have noticed people advertising koi cafes on social media, where in the cafe there's a pond representing a lake and seating area to represent boats, where customers can sit and enjoy a meal or drinks while observing the fishes quite closely and also feed them as well. This is a new hot trend in Vietnam, especially in Ho Chi Minh City, and there are a number of koi cafes throughout the city, and this one I went to is Oasis Cafe, which is just outside of District 1, so you might have to take a taxi there. Though this one in particular is not the biggest, it is convenient enough of a location to get to. Prices are not highly inflated, and to feed the fishes is not much either, maybe less than $1. While in Ho Chi Minh City, there are day trips and excursions that can be booked on booking.com or Agoda or wherever you book from, where they arrange to collect you from your hotel and take you to the destination. And one of these day trips that I would recommend is a Cu Chi tunnels. And there are two types of Cu Chi tunnels you can go to. One is a Ben Din and the other one is Ben Duoc. The former is more popular as it's more accessible, and the tunnels are wider and shorter to accommodate for Western tourists. Just like the War Remnants Museum, which was used to show and educate people about the Vietnam War, this place is intended to show people the tunnels that were used by the Viet Cong and the North Vietnam Army, the tunnel system used to circumvent the enemy soldiers and to flank them, along with tramps used. During the height of the Vietnam War, the tunnel system was said to be around 250 kilometers long and used extensively by the local soldiers, and they spent more time underground than they did on land. You could say that they lived under there. By the time the US soldiers found out about the tunnel system, they employed a number of attacks like gas, but underestimated the physical size and the network of the tunnels, which had a ventilation system as well. Then they sent dogs, particularly German shepherds, only for the soldiers to inhibit their strong sense of smell by placing American soaps and chilies all over the ground, rendering them useless, and they ended up getting caught in a lot of traps, and most of the dogs that were sent there died. So what they did next was they brought in what they call the tunnel rats, which were soldiers that had to be crawled through the tunnels, and they had to move inch by inch, knowing every second that there could be a potential booby trap. Some passages led to dead ends. Visiting Cu Chi tunnels is one of the main things, one of the reasons to not be missed out on at all.
So here I am in the tunnel. Fuck this. It's not a fucking exit. That's ventilation. How steep is the step? Ouch. Yeah, I did it.
Another day excursion would be to visit the Mekong Delta, as this river enters the Asian continent through southern Vietnam, and it's the seventh longest river in Asia, going through neighbouring Cambodia, Laos, Thai, Burma, and then into China. In fact, the capital cities of Cambodia and Laos are both built where the river passes. The lands around the river are very fertile and biodiverse, supporting lives of so many plants and animals around it, including crocodiles and a variety of fishes, let alone land animals. The part of Vietnam where the river passes, which is closest to Ho Chi Minh City, is a province known as Bến Tre, and this area is renowned for coconuts, and the locals make coconut candy there. Travelling up the canals reminds me of scenes from Apocalypse Now, and at the store where the coconut candy is made, you have the option to try the local honey juice and purchase crocodile skin products, and coconut candy too, let alone see how it's made right in front of you. When it comes to local shopping in Ho Chi Minh City, there are a few huge markets, notably the most famous of them all being the Ben Thanh Market, which is in the heart of the city itself, and it's lit up brightly in the evenings. This place is frequented by a lot of tourists, and the total number of visitors per day is 15,000, so prices may be a tad bit inflated. However, you can bargain hard to get the price you feel is appropriate. Even if it means walking away, the vendor may just call you back, preventing you from finding a better price at a nearby competition. All sorts of items are sold here, from clothes or even custom-made suits or dresses. And they take your measurements and they make your suit or dress the very next day.
So they can tailor.
They also sell footwear and sandals here, or even bags.
But is it
This
just
market
women's
itself
clothes?
is like a tourist attraction itself. Even if you don't purchase anything, it is like a quintessential Vietnamese market experience. Almost anything and everything
I'm
is sold here.
tourist.
This place does have security guards to ensure people's safety.
I'd rather not say.
Where you come from?
I come from a poor country, so give me a good price.
Then what you want to make it, and then for me to.
Whoa. Hello. In this shop right here, they make a dress in one day. The name of this establishment is called Ha Fashion 265. Sorry. What's your name? Ha. Oh, you named the shop after yourself. So these are the linen you have.
Linen.
No, material.
Material. I got it. Many material.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you're selling handbags here. Okay.
Not photo. Lên một đống người nó nằm nó để qua mấy cái hạng bẩn. Mấy chục người luôn. Ở lên á.
The other market I prefer in Ho Chi Minh City is the Binh Tay Market, which is in the Cholon area, the Chinatown of Ho Chi Minh City. This market spans 2 floors but has an open courtyard in the middle with a sculpture of the Chinese businessman who financially supported the construction of this market. Prices for things here may be a tad bit cheaper than the Ben Thanh Market, as this is for the locals, and it's a cheap, and the land value, the rent here may be cheaper as well. They sell a lot of things here, almost everything as well, like spices, raw ingredients, or even fish for cooking, let alone clothing and kitchenware. It has a total of almost 1,500 stalls,
Hello.
of which half of them are on the top and bottom floors. Given that this is located in the resident part of the city, the food here would be more authentic to the local standards.
London. Hello. What's your name? Hello. Yummy.
If you do have spare time, then I would also recommend visiting the Saigon Botanical Gardens and Zoo. Why visit this zoo since there are zoos all over the world? Well, because this houses a vast variety of animals and the selection is likely larger than the zoo in your hometown or city. And more importantly, the entry fee is around $2, which is significantly cheaper than however much it would cost in Western countries. This is one of the places where entry fee is not inflated for tourists. This happens to be Vietnam's largest zoo and is one of the world's oldest zoos as well, founded in the 1800s by a French botanist for research purposes and recreation. This zoo survived 2 world wars and rapid urbanizations. As you can see the high-rises in the back nearby, as this is located in District 1. And there are no signs of this zoo being shifted elsewhere. It's here to stay. The animals here are large tigers with a white Bengal tiger, a few lions, and it has 2 giraffe pens, rhinos, elephants, and even a dozen crocodiles, just to name a few. The lizard section is easily the most extensive I've ever seen in my life, with many varieties, including different types of snakes.
To this guy right here on the other side.
I hope this video has helped you make a decision to add it onto your bucket list as one of the places to visit in Southeast Asia. If it hasn't, then I apologise. There are other places I wish I could have added onto this video, such as the Ho Chi Minh History Museum, and that's not to be confused with the Museum of Ho Chi Minh City, along with the Bitexo Financial Building, where you could have a panoramic view of the city as well. And more importantly, Japantown, which is a grid of streets with Japanese restaurants and businesses, most of which were owned by local Japanese families living in the area. And then there's massage parlours in Japantown as well. But unfortunately, video recording and cameras are prohibited once you walk through the gates of the section. However, you can find videos online. As for the puppet show in Ho Chi Minh City, this is not necessarily exclusive to Ho Chi Minh City, as they have that in Hanoi too, but it can be enjoyed here as well.